Good evening and welcome. Welcome to all. Let's get everybody up and running. Hope you guys' weekend was good. Hope everything has been good with you guys since we last spoke. Just getting the last couple things connected, and we'll get into tonight's topic. If you are new here, bienvenidos, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. But for everybody that is new here, my name is RJ Mood, and I would like to consider myself at this point a relocation expert. And I say that is because I have understood over these last years to what most won't go about telling you about moving abroad, what most don't consider about moving abroad. And I'm understanding it in a way where not only do I and my people that I work with understand it, but we've been able to put it into a way where you can understand it. Now, you guys might think, oh, I've got Chat GPT and AI this, and that is perfectly fine. But, a lot of times AI and things of these natures are only given answers to what it is that they have experience on. So uncharted waters or things actually being written down in a way where it can search the internet for valuable resources. I realized even all we have everything with technology, you're still going to run into these things. So we do our best to take our experience from living abroad. I've been living abroad the last 3+ years, out in Medellin specifically. And doing this has led me to an understanding. This understanding has shown me that so many people who have actually gone through the proper steps and are actually thriving and succeeding abroad. They one left America or wherever they're looking at from this a certain way, and they were willing to learn a little bit. But these were also people that went through I would say, a particular kind of process when they went to move abroad that you'd be hard up to. And I realized that many of you that are thinking about moving abroad are actually going to go through the same process. Doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white, you can be rich, poor. So many of you are already at the exact same point. Never mind the actual process of moving abroad. So many of you are tired of how much everything costs in the United States and realistically not getting any more money on top of that. So what we do is not only give you guys conversations and education on, yes, it does cost a lot and it's easy to forget because you just got to pay it. But we also kind of wake you up and considering where you may be looking at going on in the world, where you may be looking to move abroad, this is going to dictate how much it is going to cost you from the United States and how much it is that you pay for bare necessities to how much it is going to be in your new life and what does that look like. So you'll see over the next couple of days, we do our best to come on Monday through Friday around 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you are somewhere watching this that is not YouTube, it is important. Please go to Black Expat Life Abroad. And if you have been here for a while, yes, we did update. We're going to get into some things that will help you navigate the updates. We were recently Black Expat Life in Colombia. I tell you guys all of the time that, yes, I know Colombia like the back of my hand, and the things that I don't know, I work with local people to make certain that you know and you don't have to stumble out of the gate. But what I've realized and what was happening is so many of you have so many different places on your radar. These places may range from Colombia to Mexico to Panama, even as far as South Africa and further. But the piecing together of the process has been kind of cumbersome if you are looking at multiple places to narrow down. Well, what if you don't have to? What we've done is compile experts in all of these places: Colombia, Santa Marta, Medellin, Cartagena. We've also compiled experts in Mexico. Anybody that's looking for Playa del Carmen, people that are looking in Panama City, people are looking at Cape Town, South Africa. We have been able to compile experts that will help you all in one place get everything that you need. You guys don't have to worry about trying to figure it out, going to multiple resources to hopefully that there's some synergy in what they're doing and what kind of experience you can be provided with. This is why we're here. I understand how much legwork it was to actually go about moving abroad, to actually decide to say I'm done with the United States, whether it's the cost, whether it's the other reasons that you may be looking to leave. But what do you do with that energy? How do you compile it in a way where you can make an action from it? So before we get into it, if you see somebody or you know somebody that needs to hear this conversation, please share it with them. We're going to cover some things regarding how much it costs to live in the United States. I know you probably forgot, but from outside of the United States looking back in, my biggest question is, are you guys okay? Because the things that I remember have now gotten to dire straits. But we're also going to talk about how much things cost. And when you realize that you may not need to spend all of your time getting money because things may not cost as much, depending on where you go, what could you do with that time? What could you do with that value back in your life? I know you don't get it often. I get it. But what would you do with that value back? That is what we're going to get into tonight. Yes, this is on YouTube. It is on YouTube. Go to Black Expat Life Abroad. Black Expat Life Abroad. There is a new update. We do have new locations for you. So make certain you guys are tuning in. There is a new website coming out. For now, you can go to moodtravelcolumbia.com if you're interested in that. Plenty of free resources, understanding of what it is that we do from a high level. And you guys are going to get used to seeing a lot more, not only of us, but these free resources brought to you. How to move, how your passport works, what visa types are available. Do I need a visa? These things are important to consider. But let's just start where you are. I know a lot of people, they go and walk through their daily life, and I realize it more going back into the United States. Walk down the street, and if anybody says anything to you, do they wait for you to respond? The entire scenario of being in America is just like head down, straightforward. Make certain that you are just getting up, going to work, and pretty much living the Groundhog Day every day, every day, every day. And the reason why is because America has given us this hope. It has given us American dream and American capitalism. But reality is, we all know that things cost too much. Even if you have money, if you have money, you're probably not watching this. And I don't mean that you're poor or broke or anything. I mean, like, if you have, 4 or 5 different exotic cars, you're probably not tuning into reasons to leave America. You're probably tuning into something else. However, I'm talking to the average person. And the average person is running into a scenario where they just went through 2025 and a little bit of 2024 and saw the news conversation talk about the price of eggs. Do you guys remember that? And then what would happen if tariffs happened? It was the whole thing. And now you guys are realistically seeing this in your everyday purchases. These things are starting to add up in ways where it's no longer considered a luxury. Never mind what we're seeing, and that is a nuanced conversation. And I'd rather not get into the food stamp scenario. I'm just talking about basic people that are just buying food at the grocery store with money, like greenbacks or digital dollars. Just too far to get into the other conversations. However, you have to consider the basic necessities of people, realizing that they're just trying to do 40 hours here, or maybe pick up some extra shifts at one job and then get a second job just to be able to say, okay, I have a house, I have a car, to get back and forth to work, or I can afford public transportation to get back and forth to work. I have the ability to put food on my table. Do you guys realize that these are just bare necessities? And some people will say, well, if you don't want a minimum wage job, then maybe you shouldn't. Those are for high school kids. Maybe you shouldn't work at McDonald's. And I'm like, do you know what goes on in America? And not saying that anybody here works at a minimum wage job, but you may. The biggest thing is, are they even paying what are considered jobs that you need a degree for, or extra years of experience at a livable wage? And you may not even remember because the last time it maybe was a palatable, livable wage, we may have been children. I'm 38 years old. No, I have no idea how old you guys are. However, I will tell you that at one time, $50,000 could. Matter of fact, let's not even put it at 50. Let's use that lovely number that everybody wants to use. $100,000. $100,000 could go way further, and there's so many people that don't make nowhere near that. Teachers coming out, having advanced degrees, having to get certain experience and things and certificates, they're not making that, and they're leading the education front. So we know that you could have a noble job, or you could even have a good job, and there's still a situation where it seems like ends don't meet. Never mind just rent. Like rent. Rent is getting out of control. So many of my friends are looking to buy houses. And the thing with America is there are so many houses that are purchased that nobody will ever actually own. It's an opportunity for the bigger companies to purchase real estate on some monopoly with the little monocle guy with the little mustache and the top hat versus real people need real homes. There are people that go to work 40 hours plus a week and somebody can legally pay them in that city not enough to afford a house. Yet so many people think the American dream is just one good opportunity or just some hard work away. Yet we keep seeing time and time again, example after example after example of so many people realizing that that is not actual. So many people do show up. They do work hard. They're not the people that would be considered lazy, yet they aren't getting ahead. How many times have you had all your bills paid and thinking, I can finally breathe? And then the moment that you do, something pops up that is an emergency that you need to get taken care of. The light bill, the water heater, the middle of the winter, depending on how old your house is, you might still have oil in these houses. These are real American things that as soon as you feel like you just getting right there where it's like, maybe I'm going to get a little breathing room, that's what happened. Okay. Hey, what's up, man? And Mazatlan, appreciate you. Um, so looking at these things is really important because you got to realize where you are is not how the world operates. You don't understand that so many places where America has allowed you to coin them being a third world country actually have it better than the Americans. Yes, if you live in the United States and let's say you have a good job and let's say that you get 14 paid days off and 5 sick days, please, I'm trying to tell you that is no time. Maybe you get the other federal holidays off, but which one of those do you get? Maybe let's call them four extra ones. So if you take your 14 plus your five and then you add your four, that is what, 14, five, and four is 23. That's 23 days off, and you have a good job. If you are a day laborer or the average worker, how many days do you get off? A lot less, I bet. Am I right? However, one of the things that I realized when I happened to move to Colombia was if I was to hire a person that was to cook in my house or help clean up or anything of that nature, there were some rules that I wasn't ready for. I was not prepared for this, and it is awesome because most of us work for someone else. So to be treated like this, considering what we consider is a first world country, yet the bare and basic necessities of somebody had to be met in order for me to employ them. I thought that first concept was mind blowing. Now, there were so many other nuances that I realized that, okay, hold on, like, so when you add up the 20 paid days off that need to happen, when you factor in that there are 18 federal holidays in Colombia, that right there, 20 plus 18, that's 38. Mind you, you have to have a good job to get your little 2 weeks off and your five cough days and your Christmas, Thanksgiving, July 4th, and maybe you get Memorial Day off. Oh, and Labor Day, five. You get five of them. Good for you. Yeah, you guys have relegated other places to third world countries, and from a quality of life perspective, from them not having to go like somebody is legally having to pay. Now, I'm not saying that everything is crystal clear and green on anywhere else. And I'm not saying that. We're going to get into that and what this actually looks like. But I'm specifically talking to people that are coming from America and are looking to move abroad. I know where you are, what you are dealing with, and the things that you feel like drowning a little bit. You feel like you're like head over how the head is almost over my water, over my head, or even over my nose. I get it, but it's not the same way. Now, I don't know what you have on your radar. Maybe it's Panama. One of the things I tell people when considering, well, how can I compare what my life is? Because so many people, well, how much is a one bedroom apartment? That can range from so many different things. There's a couple of things that you have to start off with. One, currency exchange. Not everywhere is the exact same currency exchange. I hope you do know that. Remember the guys from Forex? They were on to something. Yes, there are foreign exchange currency. It changes every day. Colombia can go from 3,800 to 4,200 to 3,500 to 4,400, all within 1 to 5 days. This is reality. But that is to $1. Whereas in places like Mexico, it could be 18 to 20. In Panama or Ghana, or it could be, 18, I think 18 to 20 in Ghana. In Panama or Cape Town, it could be 1 to 1. And then that might deter the uneducated person who would say, well, I don't want to go there because it's only 1 to 1. But things just still cost a lot in America. Even going to Panama, what you can get, a one bedroom on the water with the view, you can't afford that for the same rate back in Miami or the coastal cities. These things are designed to understand that I know where you are, but give you some hope that depending on where you are, what kind of education that you put behind you. I was telling you guys last week, you got to put your backpack on, but you just can't put a backpack with nothing in it. You need to put things in said backpack so that you are prepared to go wherever it is that you're saying, I'm ready to go, give up everything I know, because some of y'all are like, well, Narnia is on the other side. And I'm like, Narnia is not on the other side. Yes, you will find great stuff in the places that you go. But to think that you will go into a place that doesn't have issues, that doesn't have anything going on, that is an American thought process. Because once again, you're thinking like, well, you need to think, oh, it's too bad, or it can't be that bad. And it's like you don't know what everybody's individual issues are on ground. It's better to understand and get a lower drawbridge and understand, no, America is not waiting for you when you decide where you're going to go. But two, you need to get into how do I navigate this community in a way where I can be of a resource more than of a drain. Because so many Americans, I always tell you guys, I was on a girl's podcast earlier today, and she was like, well, go a week or two. And then I wrote in the chat, I'm like, if you don't have 2 weeks to go see what it is that you want to say that you want to live, but you want to go sell everything and take some YouTube or TikTok guys' advice on what it's going to be like, then why would you think you could go move abroad if you don't even have 2 weeks? Your life is not even set up that way. And it's like you need to start doing the bigger lifting that you can do first, finding out how you're going to make money. That is the biggest elephant in the room, because once you can figure out how to make money, you're not realizing that your money that you make in the United States actually does have some value. I tell people all the time, chasing that $100,000 number, or they are at that $100,000 number. What I tell them is your $100,000 lifestyle, wherever it is that you live in America, whatever it is that it affords you, whether that's exactly what you want, whether it's still not enough, these things are completely relative to where you're going. But that $100,000 number, you could cut that in half, and depending on where you're going, immediately have a better quality of life. Immediately have access to luxury, if that's what you're looking for, services and amenities and opportunities to do things that will better your quality of life than you did chasing or receiving and having that $100,000 lifestyle. So many of you guys are thinking about the move, but thinking like, well, I don't have $100,000 job yet, or I don't have a job that I tell people now you have to do real financial research. But if I know if you live in a place where $100,000, like a New York, and you're paying $2,000-3,000 a month for rent, or $4,000 a month for rent to live in a shoebox, you don't have a car, so you're using transportation 8 months out of the year. It's cold as hell, but everybody in New York just loves the vibe, so they just put on 15 jackets. If that is your life right now, cool. But the amount of money that you spend in the United States to have said lifestyle, do whatever it is that is making you happy, you would be surprised how little it could cost you and what you could do with that time that you're not spending all that day working to trying to make all the money, or what you could do with said money to improve your life, whether it's physical therapy, gym membership, a full-time chef cooking meals. These things are in grasp, but they'll never be. And these are not like, oh, you're some king or some queen. You're going to act like you're in some foreign land. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is having opportunities to see what the world has to offer you. Depending on what kind of person you are and depending on where your people came from, you may feel like we're just here, but we don't and haven't been given privy to anywhere else in the world. You guys have an opportunity to take off the glasses that America gave you and say, all right, maybe what you said was true, but maybe it wasn't. So many of you guys are willing to believe America at face value that y'all haven't realized that they they may have not told you all the way the truth. What is the coincidence of that? You think it's a possibility? You think they just told you exactly what it was? No, they realized that more people, and you've seen this, you go on travel and you may, now if you travel in the resorts, you probably won't see this, but if you've gone into different locations in different countries, you've seen people doing things. They have this thing called like a siesta, where you leave work and people leave school and they go home and eat with their family. Then they go back to work. People are like, what? You go home, eat with your family? It's like, yeah, in the middle of the day, you go home, eat with your family, then you go back home, then you back to work, finish out, do whatever it is you got to do. Christmas time comes. We're so used to picking up extra shifts, thinking about different things, about how can I afford all of the stuff and things that my family want, because that's what I need to be happy. Everything is a what can I take in? How much can I get? Saw somebody today that said, buy a new shirt once a month. You deserve it. Listen, you will die sad with a bunch of used shirts if you go about that life. I think so many people are looking into moving abroad because they have now received all the things or tired of chasing all the things and understanding that that is not going to bring me happiness. And to be surprised that things don't cost as much. People are, I think Tisha had, if you guys go to Rotisha's World on Instagram, she had a virtual relocation apartment tour, how to buy property in Colombia and Santa Marta. And what she was talking about, I think she said it was like $1,000 down to start. You have real ownership of certain things, like, and that's not isolating Colombia as as the only place. I'm saying that there are so many unique opportunities around the world. We'll get into later this week about how your passport works, because so many of you guys are just willing to go take all your money and buy property or sight unseen, never stepped in country, just saw one thing. And I tell you guys, I understand that things are high and you heard that it was cheap. But you will be right back on the place that you are watching this, the couch, the bus, whatever it is, medium that you are sitting on, because you did not do your due diligence. Yes, the things cost cheaper, but you can actually still spend like you're in America, depending on where you are, depending on what it is that you want. You could take your exact same lifestyle and spend the exact same amount of money. Now, you would have better and bigger things and more amenities, but what if you didn't? What if you untrained yourself to think that I need to have the best, the Mercedes Benz, or I need to have the house on the water, or the highest house on the water, where you're spending 40 to 50% of your budget, or going out every night for like. Yes, you can still have these things, but I'm trying to get to a core value that I realize a lot of Americans have, which is opulence, stuff and things. I want to look like I got money and don't have nothing. I was telling my boy today, I said, bro, yes, there are houses abroad that are cheap by United States standards. Um, 20, $30,000. Yes. Um, 100, $150,000. Yes. Even 200, $250,000. Yes. Even $1 million houses are definitely abroad. 100%. In the places that you don't think. Colombia, 100%. Anywhere you can think, there are definitely $1 million equivalent USD houses. But what I tell you is, you may not really understand one, what you're looking for, because everything is down to the where you're located. It's down to the country, and it's down to the state, and it's down to that city and that state and what is available. Some people may have certain things that they want, a pool, or they may want to live in a building with 24-hour security. But one of the biggest things that Americans don't realize is that your credit score really doesn't exist outside of the globe, the snow globe of America. So outside of that little bubble, you don't realize that it doesn't exist. So that could be good and bad depending on who you are. You might be like, "Oh, dang, my credit score is terrible. Like, that sucks." But so many of you guys are looking to go and say, "Okay, well, I want to purchase a house with the pool and 5, 6 bedrooms and all the land and everything else." You're like, "Cool, I'll finance it. Okay, perfect credit." No, no, no. Like, you're an American. Maybe you have built a credit history up in um, America. Great. But nobody cares. So you got to realize that these lofty dreams that some people have, let me go buy a house, not realizing that that $150,000 price tag is $150,000 USD cash liquid that you need to have and be able to transfer, plus fees and taxes and whatever else that you would need to pay. So there's some realities that I want to bring into that. Yes, things in the United States are really expensive. But even with purchasing things and spending your money, you could still spend, if you spend 10 grand in the United States, you could still spend 10 grand in a place as cheap as Colombia for the American dollar. Yes, you can. You want to go to the highest restaurants and you're in there. You want to take Uber Blacks everywhere, and you want to have an in-home gym, and crazy view. I've seen this house. Shout out to Paula. She was in this house it had to be 60-foot windows, floor to floor, maybe 1,000 to 1,500 foot view, maybe even more. And I'm like, yes, these things exist. People in America think that because somebody told you that it was a third world country, that was the truth. These people in these places, wherever you go, have things. I think the American bubble lets you think that one, that you have it one so bad, because it's like you can take your salary and take it almost anywhere in the world and immediately have more in stuff and things and purchase power than America affords you. So how do you go about navigating this? Because yes, it is going to change. Cartagena and Medellin are not the same cost monthly. Things cost more from a housing perspective. Food may be different. But that is why not only saying do your research, but giving you the things, the access, the tools, the resources, the people you need to listen to and hear from. And they're experts that will actually take you from where you're sitting today and put you in a scenario where when you get to the airport and say destination, they'll meet you there and give you hand-to-hand experience. I would recommend that. As a person that has done it, I didn't have it when I left. So many of us didn't have it, and I've seen so many people get scammed out of their money, get go and have a bad time, go and not have their VPN or internet situation right, and end up losing their career because they're not supposed to be abroad, and they just thought that they could just do this easy peasy hack that they found on TikTok. And it's just like, you guys are at a crossroads of life changing events. Things cost a lot in America, but it costs even more to give up everything that you know with and jump out of the plane that you know, even if you feel like it's going down with no parachute. And in the parachute bag, you didn't got a parachute in it or nothing else to sustain you once you go on your journey of where it is. So don't be in such a rush because you're seeing the the things that the algorithm loves. Oh, I went to Colombia and it was $40 or $10 to get a bottle in the club, and it was this is how much the food was, and the ladies they love me. Don't put your life into something as trivial as that. Take this and take these things and understand that yes, I would say it is worth it. I would say staying in America is not worth it based off of what I know from my experience and what I know from the others that are around me. However, it is up to you to leave America and to go in a way where you know some things. And then when you get there, be ready to learn. I had to learn things that I did not know. I had to learn, obviously, a new language in Colombia. I needed to learn how the money worked. These things are important. You get $300 in the United States, you're like, it's $300. It's not that much money. I can spend that in 5 seconds. You can spend that in the Family Dollar now, the dollar store, which is not even a dollar anymore. You can spend that. It's like, dang, I just spent a bunch of money. Quick, $300 goes past easy. Whereas $300 could represent an entire, based off of American American exchange, could represent maybe $100 shy of what a monthly salary could be. So that money looks way different. People also don't realize that all money, because in America you got your greenbacks, and the greenbacks are all one size. Depends on where you go. The paper money could be different sizes. There's so many things. Never mind how much things cost, but even how to maneuver with money in ways that you could make it work for you. Now, yes, you have to put it in your pocket. That's something physical. But allowing to take that budget that you've allotted for America, $5,000, $7,000, whatever the number is for you, and coming to a reasonable lifestyle scenario where you're going and understanding that, yes, you might pay $1,500 a month for rent, plus utilities, plus you need to furnish it. However, you go into a place where that 1,500 is actually 750, and that's your entire rent, including utilities, including your utilities, and it's furnished. This is reality. Things cost so much in America, we often forget that there is parity elsewhere. And so many people have been spoiled in a way where they think that America is the best place for them. Maybe, and I'm going big on a maybe, and I'm honestly being facetious, but maybe America's the best place in the world. Maybe. But I always isolate it down to you. Maybe America is the best place in the world for a numerous amount of reasons that, from a global perspective, maybe the things that are here could be seen as something good. But it's from a global perspective. You don't represent the globe, you represent you. What do you need? I know. You guys forget, because I know being selfish and locking in and focusing on just me and my family alone. I know that's the easiest thing to do in America, but so many of you guys seem to be worried so much more about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else has for your life that you forgot that you are the person that actually has to live your life. So it's about what it is and what country and what opportunities that you have and what you have around the world and globally versus what America has sold you is the best you're going to get. Because they tell you, work till you're 65 and then you'll be able to see it all. But even with the amount of money that most average Americans with a retirement plan will have, how much of the world are they going to see, especially because they're older? And I'm 38. So that is what, 27 years? If I make it to 65, that's 27 years. You don't think, as high as things are now, That $1 million that they told you you need, or $5 million that they've saying now that you need to have to retire, that it's going to be the exact same number? Realistically, how do you ever catch up? I felt like America is set up to never catch up. It's always like you're playing in the game, but what a lot of you guys don't realize that you're the little brother right now. Remember, if you're a little brother or a big brother, or maybe you're a sibling, you're only child, so this might not provide any knowledge to you, but you're an older brother or a younger brother. You have probably sat and played with your older brother or younger brother, realizing or not realizing that one of y'all was holding sticks to a video game that weren't connected. There weren't any batteries in there. Yes, you felt like you were in the game. Yes, you felt like you were playing. You actually had a chance to win. You couldn't even, you were so overwhelmed and excited to be in it, you didn't even realize that you didn't even have a person on the screen. That is how some of you guys are right now, but you're just so excited to be at the American table, to realize that they're allowing me to do this. And I'm only talking to Americans because Americans are a specific kind of people. They've been told that they are the best in the world because they come from the best country in the world. And that everything that goes on in America is how the world works. And Americans are the only people that don't realize that it's not America first. It's not American and then everyone else. There is an entire globe of countries and everything. And so many of you are in a position not to wake up. Yes. Just because you are in turmoil also doesn't mean that when you get somewhere that you got to be Cristobal Colombo. Because you can be a gentrifier, a colonizer, because so many of you are like, I'm paying $5,000. I'm looking for a $5,000 apartment in X place. And it's like, but what if it doesn't cost that much? But you are writing these things on the Facebook groups and everything else. And it's just like, you're taking American expectations and the cost of America, knowing that is what the source of your fatigue is, and looking forward abroad. I know you. You guys go into Airbnb and you put I know, like I said, I spend $3,000 a month on rent. So you put in $3,000 a month on rent, not even realizing that you spend money on furnishing the place and all your utilities, cable, internet. Depends on like gas, trash, water, sewer. Depending on where you are, you might have to pay some things. You guys are just taking America with you in American expectations. So many of you guys are not even realizing that Americans love, I told you, to wear your bank account on your body. We're taught to show people what it is that we have, yet are so fatigued by that being the only source of value that people have in us. I know it's messed up, especially when you hear it and you realize, damn. I mean, because people get the Rolex and it's like, I got the Rolex, do you really need $5,000 worth of time, or is that for somebody else, or did that make you feel like you made it? And where did you make it? As a person, listen, I had an E350, and before that, I had an E400, which is convertible. I felt like I needed to get these cars living in South Florida because I needed to know people that I was serious about my business. Was I any less serious whether I was driving a Accord? The amount of work that I was able to get done, the efficiency that I was able to do, did that change because I was now in a new vehicle? The emperor now had brand new clothes for other people to see. It's the exact same concept. This emperor's new clothes with all of the things that we've accumulated. We spend so much time. We're used to things being so high. My mom came to Mexico. She got like 3 bags of stuff, I'm not saying you can't spend that in Mexico, but she spent like $75. Like, damn, what you get? She's like, all this stuff for only 75, and I'm like, oh, they got you bad, girl. They got you bad. They got you bad. You're used to spending so much money that you are just willing to take that habit and be like, well, at least my body's out of America, but my habits aren't. How far can $1,500 a month stretch you in places, depending on where you're going, a lot further than what you are affording now? Now, that all comes down to nuanced things. I tell people, because they ask, well, how much is a 1 bedroom apartment? A 1 bedroom apartment is what you want to make it. Do you need an elevator if you're not on the first floor? Do you need 24-hour security? Do you want to have a dog? Do you want to have a washer and dryer? Do you need air conditioning? Are you thinking that every place that you go is going to have all of those and a dishwasher waiting for you? Are you a tall person? Do you need a big bed? Do you want to have a view of something? You can pay what you weigh. Most people think the places that you've given the moniker of third world countries are broke. They just show you the bad stuff. I used to, I before one house I was in, I lived in across the street from what was that, a Porsche dealership? I've seen Porsches, Ferraris, Cybertrucks. In Colombia, the place that you say doesn't have anything or resources. That's what y'all say. That's what y'all been shown, and then that's what y'all go around, and then when y'all get here, you're like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh wait. You're mistaken. I understand that. Hola, Angel. So these things are important to understand that America has given you a script of what you expect to pay for things. And then you're willing to take in it's like, and then you lead with this first. Anybody know any $2,000 apartments? Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, plenty of people are going to answer that ad. You know why? Because apartments don't cost that. I'm seeing that so much in Colombia, and people don't understand that you can be an immediate cause to gentrification. You can be an immediate cause to this because you don't know how much things cost. So you're willing to pay the 5 to 10 times the price just because you don't know. Not even realizing that so many of you guys are like, well, I don't need Spanish. I got my translator app. Oh my God, please do not be walking around here thinking that you're just going to walk around the entire country just translating everything, telling people to speak into your phone. What are you, an undercover? Everything can be translated. So many people I've seen, people that have moved, lived over in Colombia and speak Spanish speaking places for over a year. And I'd go out with them at restaurants and they could barely order food. How is that possible? How did you just turn your brain off for over a year and not be able to get used to where you are? This is why people have go home campaigns. It's because one, you are coming so damaged that you're not looking to understand where you're going. Yeah, and then two, because you are used to paying so much, you're taking that same expectation to the place that has nothing to do with that and looking at everybody and saying, well, why am I having a bad time? Or why are people looking at me and look like they don't like me? Or they're annoyed with me? Because you're the only person in your entire building paying $4,000 a month. Everybody's paying 1,000 and may have to move because somebody heard that people are willing to go pay this. I know you are overwhelmed where you are. You're ready to leave, but that doesn't mean that you have the right for you to go mess it up, for you to have a good time, as well as for anybody else that comes around or after you, as well as the people that are already there. You can't realize how difficult it is for people to grasp that. People of color, especially considering the G word, the gentrification, but you have to address it because it doesn't give you right to just say, I'm willing to pay whatever to leave. When I tell people about moving abroad, and I tell people, yes, if you earn in American dollars, it does cost more. My best recommendation for people telling me, what do I do? Can I get a job over in X destination? I tell them, your US dollars abroad, no matter where you go in the world, outside of US, will probably go further than the local currency. But you also need to look into how much the exchange rate is. So many people are like, oh my gosh, I love the Caribbean. I want to go to Aruba. Or I want to go to people like, well, I don't have a passport, so I'll go to USVI and live there. Do you know how much it costs to live in the United States Virgin Islands? Or some of these other places, Aruba, Turks and Caicos, Bonaire, Curacao. These places are expensive. So I always tell people to have your eye on what the rate is because you should be able to start your healing process because people don't realize that the moving abroad process is a healing process. Yes, your pockets can heal. Your money will go further. You're not having to spend as much on bare necessities. Food doesn't cost as much. Even if you get it delivered, You guys can order for one and spend $40 to $50 just because of taxes and how much everything costs. I see places like $23 for a bacon cheeseburger. Like, how's a bacon cheeseburger with fries $23? Well, it's applewood smoked bacon. It's a quarter of Wagyu, quarter of chuck ground beef. Listen, this burger gonna get eaten, and it don't need to be $23. But that is what you guys have gotten so used to. But when you get abroad and you realize that not only am I not paying as much for food, but the food is actually better for me. The things that I go looking for in the grocery store aren't there because they're not allowed in this country. That process and those processes that allow them to sit on the shelf like this for months at a time, they don't give to people in their country. People always say it's a third world country where you stay at, it's a third world country where you live at. But they won't feed their people certain things that America and only America will feed their people. Put a video out today and it's talking about the daggone bioengineered products. You guys pay a luxury price in America for terrible quality ingredients. You're like, well, it's organic. Somebody paid for that label, bro. That's something's paid marketing. Well, I went to Trader Joe's. Guess where the fruit comes from? Colombia, Costa Rica, the places so many more people are starting to look at. Mexico. These things are all realities. It's right in front of you, but you just got your head down. But you're also overworked. So understanding that, because even the cost of groceries, you guys are like at $100 a bag of groceries. I know it's terrible and rising. And then the groceries, I keep seeing these videos of the fruit. Just like the banana, took it out. It's like plastic. It's like gummy. The watermelon. People are like, "Do you got seeds in the watermelon, brother?" Nah, there's a GMO watermelons. Not getting into that conversation. However, that is so many things of what people are saying. Like, this is all reality. Y'all know that the food quality is terrible. So many of you guys have allergies that nobody in the world ever heard of. I am allergic to peanuts in America. Now, globally, I take that with me because it's a difference between life and death really quickly. However, so many people have gluten allergies, fowl allergies, things that are isolated to the United States that on the other side, they literally disappear. They're not putting that BS in the food. The places that you've deemed third world because you're a CNN watcher, MSNBC, Fox News, doesn't matter. They all say this is a bad place and these people are desolate and they need our help. Everybody's doing okay. Everybody's walking and having a good time and eating better food than you are. And they're not paying. Imagine, no, I'm not saying that this is a great wage, but somebody in Colombia can afford to live and get paid $400 and afford a house or an apartment and food. You in America are one missed paycheck away from not having any food. You in America may be working a minimum wage job and then have to work 2 or 3 minimum wage jobs just to be able to afford rent or a place. So many of you guys have actually good jobs, but can't buy a house because the housing market is outrageous. I know where you are. The opportunity on the other side presents itself in a way where it seems like sunny delight, like the beautiful, like sunshine and rainbows. But so many of you guys are not realizing that, yes, some of those things are waiting for you on the other side. However, without real understanding, without real grasp how to do this, where you are, I preach about this all the time. I don't even preach, but I talk about this. Your whys, why you are leaving and what you are looking for. It is such an important thing for you as the person that you are to grasp that concept. Why you may be looking to leave. Things cost too much, bare necessities, housing prices. Even though I have all the nice house or the car, I still feel empty. I don't want this in my life. Maybe it looks different elsewhere. Maybe with putting time and energy back into me, maybe I can feel that I have a way to feel like this is worth doing it all. But so many of you guys haven't been able to give. I won't even say that you haven't given yourself the grace. You guys have to be able, a lot of times, to have the time to even process these things. Some people say, well, I spend time on the internet, but I just go there to look or find out information. And it's just like, I'm already overwhelmed. I work all day. I get my 48 hours a week off, but that's taken up with half the things I couldn't do during the week. These are all realities where it's like, what if you go from wherever age you are to your retirement age at 65 and you don't do anything but what you're able to get doing right now? What do you think your life will be when you look back and say you spent 50 hours, 60 hours, 40 hours at work, 20 to 30 hours in traffic or whatever the case is to and from work, and now you can see the world, you can pour into your passions? How would that affect your ability to move forward, considering that at this time, so many of people that look like you are your age, they're carving out ways to be able to get that taken care of now, to where you might not be holding off until 65 to get $1,700 or $2,500 a month, or even $4,000 a month. But you are able to position yourself into a new life in a way where maybe you still get that 4,000. But I tell people all the time, especially some of my older followers that are in a position of leaving, that are retired. You can take that $4,000 a month and go try to live on the United States and see where it's going to get you, or you can take the $4,000 a month and go somewhere else abroad. Make certain that it has everything that you need. But that lifestyle that you would live there, the things that you would have access to, better healthcare, cheaper healthcare, better quality food, opportunities to grow within nature opportunities. So many reasons why moving abroad makes the most sense. But if you don't realize what is on the other side, the opportunity that you have, I am on the other side. You have to go through TSA. You got to have real ID or passport to come see where I am at right now. However, so many of you guys are in the United States, stuck. You just got off of work. You might be on your way home in the public transportation watching this. You might have just fought traffic, whatever way you had to get back home, to try to figure out what to eat tonight. Going to the grocery store, I got to spend $60 in groceries with something I barely make. Want to eat indoor, might not even be good for me, taking years off my life as I continuously digest it. These are all real things. And it's a time where so many people are literally looking in the mirror and asking themselves, do I need a break? Do I need a break from this? And how do I get a break from this? What is the best way? Somebody say, can you save more money abroad than at home? If it costs you $5,000 a month for your bare necessities, and you also automatically take $2,500, and now that is your cost of living, is that not $2,500 that just cleared up, that you never had access to and you weren't going to have access to? Because I tell people, once they open the door, they don't close the door. If you're old enough to remember before 9/11, when you didn't have to pay for bags, you could go all the way to the gate with your loved ones. Well, those baggage fees were used to help the airlines recover after 9/11. Help the airline recover. When do we get a stimmy like that? Billions and billions of dollars. Once you open that fee, there it is. It's never going to close. So these things that you guys are seeing, the raising rates, you think the remember when gas went to $3 for the first time in California, and the whole country said, what is going on in California? The future. That's what was going on. What did they do? Now gas could be $4 or $5 in California, and gas in the United States and other cities are $3, $2.50, $2.95. You remember, if you're old enough, you remember. You think that that is just isolated to the things that I brought up here? Think about it. things are going to cost more. Think about this. The average person doesn't get a $10,000 annual raise. If you make 50,000 and they give you a 10% annual raise, that is $5,000. The average person doesn't get a $10,000 annual raise. Yet they aren't willing to give you a raise at the clip that they are raising everything. You got to realize that there are 12 months in the calendar year. So if somebody gave you $10,000 extra per month, well, they wouldn't. They only gave you 10,000 for the year. So you take that 10,000 divided by 12, and that is what you are getting every month. What is that, like $833.33 before taxes? So once you tax that and then double it up by, hold on a second. Once you tax that and then double it up by 2 weeks, what are you getting? Let's say that goes that 800 is taxed down to $400 or $500, so you're getting an extra 250. And they said you've done a great job. We just gave you $10,000. How do you feel? Like I could buy 2 extra bags of groceries? That's how I feel. And when they do give you that, how long is that going to last you as an extra 250 on your paycheck? Is it going to feel the same? So we are looking at these numbers, this $100,000 number, and it's just like that was then. Now that number is a number where those people that have it aren't the rich people. They have more money than poorer people, but by no means are rich. Everything costs way more money. People are fine getting into credit. I was telling my boy Freddie, I was like, bro, yeah, you got to buy these houses straight out cash. He said, what about credit? No, no, there's no financing. So many Americans are into the financing loops and trap holes, some using it to their benefits, and other ones have put themselves in the craziest amounts of debt so they can never get out of, including people that decided that college education was good enough to finance. They're mounds of debt because everybody can borrow money based off of whatever it is that they decide. You can't go at 18 years old and say, give me $40,000 a year, 4 years straight, and then I'll pay it after a year after I get done building this business. They're like, yeah, we're gonna give you 160,000 for annual disbursements, and then after 1 year, we're gonna start taking your payments. They won't do that at 18 years old, but they will do that at college. Never mind anything else. People getting in the car notes, $1,000, $1,100 for Hondas, Toyotas, because their credit is bad. I see all these the craziest things on the internet, and it's like, when do you ever get out? Your American credit score is your American credit score. Unfortunately, the people that are terrible, honestly, the globe is going to find you. They don't have nothing nice to do for you or say for you anyway. But for people that are looking at, well, how am I going to leave? My credit is bad. Mexico don't know that. Colombia doesn't know that. Nobody knows that except you, unless you want to tell them. These are realistic things. Now, when you want to go purchase, yes, you do need all that money. You need all the money that you need. And many times there are finance things, but that gets down to nuances of what kind of business you have, where it is. We're not going to get into that tonight. Most of you guys aren't even having $150,000 in liquid cash to even purchase a property. Some people are, but most people didn't realize that they weren't going to go about financing their way out of the United States. But here's the good thing. When I went to go move abroad, my father asked me, well, how much did you save to move abroad? I said, well, excuse me? How much did I save? Do you know how much I'm spending right now to live? When I was moving from South Florida, the rent was going up to $3,000 a month. Now that's 3,000 USD. That doesn't include furnishings. That doesn't include electric, cable, internet, water, nothing. Just 3,000 funky dollars, and we're still 40 minutes from the beach, depending on traffic. You want me to what? Never mind car note, car insurance. If you live in South Florida or not Atlanta, but at least in South Florida, you know about the mafia, the Publix mafia. You gotta buy from Publix. So buying from Publix, that running it up. Got to get a pub sub. These things all cost. You look up, you're spending 4, 5, 6, 7,000, $8,000 a month just to be bare necessities. I live in a nice neighborhood. I have a car, go to back and forth. I live in a place that is cool. I have things in my house. I'm not sitting on the floor. You look up and it's like, yeah, you may be at $4 to 5 to 6 thousand dollars a month, depending on who you are. You may be lower, but I guarantee you, what you're paying at the lifestyle rate that you are getting it at, it doesn't cost this much when you leave. Just don't. So you guys got the opportunity to understand that things can be different. But you also have to understand that you need to do something. You need to go through a process. And these conversations, these processes, these things are important. Because a lot of people are like, okay, cool, well, it's going to be cheaper. But some things still cost. Luxury still costs. It might not cost as much, but it still costs. Something that costs 8,000 might cost 3,000, but it still costs. Because you guys are thinking that, oh, well, it's third world country, everything's cheap. Like, you have been lied to and propagandized. It's time to wake up. It's time to realize some things about where you are and the crossroads you're in. I tell people that are actually looking at these conversations, watching us on YouTube, if you guys are interested, go to Black Expat Life Abroad. Yes, we have updated Black Expat Life Abroad because we are bringing you more than Colombia. These general conversations aren't nuanced down to a destination. They're nuanced down to you and the type of education that needs to be provided for people looking to move abroad. Not only before they leave, but once you get in the city, the state, the country that you're looking to be at, you need to go about it in a way where it behooves you to go about it in a way where you go about community and connection and finding the right resources to better improve. Because, like I said, you are at such a big crossroad. You don't realize it. You feel that heat on your back as you are looking straight out of the United States. That heat could follow you everywhere. If you look to bring all your George Washingtonness, your Abraham Lincolnness, your Christopher Columbusness, your whatever American folklore hero figure, presidential, any one of those people you want to bring with you, America is not waiting for you. So everything that you expect from America, throw it out the window. Now, there are many things that are waiting for you. But we have to start with the things that you need to realize. You are in a position of refuge. Yes, it's okay. They didn't tell you that you, as an American citizen, were going to be in a position of refuge and looking to move abroad for better pastures, for peace, for freedom, for better quality of life. They didn't sell you that at July 4th. They didn't tell you that you were going to grow up and feel this way. However, you will be a guest and understanding the cost of things and understanding that yes, you are paying a premium for terrible places, for terrible quality foods, that the research that is done on how much things cost, you're going to immediately see a break in your cost. Immediately. But the responsibility of how you navigate that is going to be one of your biggest challenges initially. What I do, and hopefully this conversation is try to preface that so that when you do get there, this is not your first time hearing it. It's not your first time conversing with somebody that can like kind of frame it for you and give you perspective. Yes, if you talk to a local that has never been in America, they can give you the local perspective of where that place is. But somebody that has done their best to, commune with locals to Colombia or anywhere else I go, but also has my hands on the pulse of what is going back on in the United States, what my people are going through, what their deepest concerns are, what their problems are, and how we and us can be of a solution. I've realized that you guys don't think in the manner that you should, and that's not your fault. You, or hopefully, I don't speak for you. underpaid, don't have the time to think in the manner you should. As educated as you are, don't have any direct resources that you can go about navigating through that are going to give you something that you can write down and go take to your notepad and utilize and go back to the drawing board and get something better figured out, put more resources in your tool bag. So hopefully somebody learned something tonight. I hope everybody, shout out to everybody who's on TikTok too. I did see you guys tapping in. Not sure where you guys are from. That algorithm is a little funky. But make sure that you guys are sharing this to somebody that needs to hear it. We will be back tomorrow at 2, at not 2. We will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Give me a couple minutes. Sometimes I do have a call run over, but usually around that time. Best way to find out, go ahead, hit the follow button, hit the share button. Somebody else needs to see this, and you might know them. Make sure you are subscribing. If you aren't on YouTube, go to Black Expat Life Abroad, and that will get you guys to all of the great things that we have rolling out for you. I'm super excited not only to continue having these conversations, listening to the feedback, trying to give you guys more education on what it is that you need to learn before you leave. That way you can feel more prepared, more sound in this store process, in this decision to leave. And then continuously bring you the resources that once you are sound, once you are ready, you can get on the plane and feel like you are about to change your life the right way. So thank you guys for always tuning in. I will jump back on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. Jump in my DMs, jump in the comments. Let me know what you guys may want to talk about, may want to hear, may want to learn about. Um, yeah, a lot of people are just jumping out here and they're just I don't know. They just got it. They just left yesterday. I do not recommend tuning in to those people. There's no shade or anything about that, but there are too many people that have just left the United States. I have been going more years, and then my job is not to just be the only voice in the room. Black Expat Life Abroad, you will see multiple conversations from experts, other expats that live abroad, so you can get balanced in different perspectives. It's not about just me talking into a void. It's me giving you something, building a community that understands that you can come to one place and be connected to all of the resources that you need to move abroad, to understand how to do so, the steps that you need to go about doing it, and essentially what your life is going to look like once you cut the cord and leave America. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in as always. Y'all stay safe. Be blessed.